Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Comrades in Arms. This is a series of interviews with veterans from Branch 98 of the Royal Canadian Legion at Kingston, Nova Scotia. And the purpose of these interviews is to highlight and record for posterity the careers of our veterans that served in Canada's armed forces. Today we have a great prize for you to watch. He's a wonderful gentleman, one of the few that I interview that's older than I am, but here he is in all his glory, born in 1913, so that would make him 86 years old. And he had a long, very long career in the Royal Canadian Air Force. He was in for 23 years, and you will hear of the traveling he did worldwide. He'd just be somewhere and he'd get posted somewhere else, and it was all very exciting, even though he was not a flyer. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Walter Hayes. And Walter, you were born in Choggins Mines, am I right?
Right.
Celebrated place in Nova Scotia, hey?
Imagine that those days.
Yes, it was in those days. And your name is not Walter Hayes at all, it's Haig.
It's Walker Haig.
Haig, right.
Right.
You see, I was having a little old period there myself.
Right.
All right, sir. Now, your father was in the services too, wasn't he? First of all, he was a miner, was he?
He was a miner in this country, and then when the war came along in 1914, he enlisted in the 25th Battalion, Nova Scotia Regiment.
I see.
And was overseas in 1915.
Yeah.
And in 1916, my mother packed up the kids, which was two of us at that time, and took us to England. We stayed with our grandmother, my father.
Did you over there? And kind of grew up a little bit there, did you?
Yes, I even went to school there for a few years.
Did you?
Kindergarten and...
So answer me this, Walker. Did you have an English accent
I
when
did.
you came home? I bet you did.
I did, and my brother has always kidded me about it.
Did he? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
call me Limey Haig.
Wonderful. Oh, yes. All right. So now your dad had a career there. Was he wounded or what happened?
Yes, in the Battle of the Somme, he was hit by a piece of shrapnel in the head, and they installed a silver plate in his head. And after the war was over, he was sent back in an hospital ship. I guess it'd be prior to it'd be 16 or I forget what year around that time, 17.
Yes.
He was sent back to Canada.
Back to Canada, but you used to stay there.
We stayed in England till 1920.
Oh my goodness! You and your mother
That's
and your other sibling.
and there was a brother born in England during that time.
I see. Oh.
Bob was born in
Yes.
England.
Now, so then you came home to Canada, did you?
Yes, we came back in 1920, I think, and went through to Toronto.
To Toronto to live?
To live.
Goodness me. And you didn't go back to Choggins Mines or Nova Scotia?
I never went back to Choggins Mine until I retired in 1963, and we stopped in there to see what it was like.
Oh my!
But amazing.
So you really had a great deal of your life in Ontario.
That's right, I did. Yeah.
Excuse me, which we call, of course, Upper Canada. And you lived and worked in Toronto, or went to school in Toronto?
Well, I went to school, educated in the city of Toronto, and I worked in Toronto until the war.
I see. And oh yes, and now you enlisted in Toronto?
No, yes, I did.
Yeah.
But in 1938, they asked a couple of us to go with them to Montreal because they switched the plant from Toronto to Montreal.
Oh, the plant you were working in?
I work in Mullincott Chemical Company.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I went along with them, and was in Montreal.
Now, you tried to enlist there, didn't you?
Oh, yes, because I had been in the service prior to the war.
Yes.
You know what they call them?
In the militia.
Militia.
Uh-huh,
And
right.
I was in the Army for 2.5 years.
Uh-huh.
And I have a picture of being in the Army.
Yes, so we're going to look at those pictures afterward.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Right.
at the end we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, now, Walker, you were tried to join, I believe, and you were refused?
Well, I was transferred from the Army to the Air Force, 110th Squadron in Toronto. And when I left there, Flight Lieutenant Curtis, who was the OC, the CO of the squadron, he said, if you need recommendations, just let me know. But when I went to Montreal, I walked in the office and I didn't even say hello when they told me I was too short.
Too short. Oh, my goodness. How did you feel about that?
I felt mad.
Mad.
Right,
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, yes.
Yes, I was,
Yeah, because you knew very well that for your size and weight, you could do anything that anybody taller or bigger could
and
do,
right,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Now, you were educated in Toronto. You started your war in Toronto because you came back from Montreal, right?
I came back from Montreal. I was told that I could stay out of the war because I was in chemicals,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this was essential to the war.
But how come you weren't too short in Toronto?
Because they didn't have the fierce stipulation,
Oh, they
5'8".
Oh,
above.
I see. Okay. So now, were you able to join the Air Force?
Oh yes, I went back in the Air Force,
Yeah.
and they gave me back my regimental number, which
Did
was 56A. I was the 56th man in Canada to join the auxiliary squadron
My
at
goodness.
that time.
Now, could you join the militia, which is primarily an army sort of unit,
That's
isn't it?
right, yeah.
And you had no trouble getting out of that militia into the Air Force?
No,
No, that's wonderful.
no.
So you were pleased?
Oh, I was quite pleased.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, I bet you were.
Okay.
And what rank did you start off as? Aircraftsman?
Well, AC-1.
AC-1, okay, yes. And looked very handsome in your uniform, even though you were short. Okay. Now, where'd you go from Toronto?
From Toronto, we had the boot camp there,
Did you?
and then from there, I was transferred to St. Thomas, which was a training school.
That's near London,
That's
Ontario,
right.
right? Yeah.
And,
Now, what kind of training did you take?
Well, I just had to repeat everything I'd had in the past 4
Oh,
years.
this is marching. Left, right, left,
no,
right?
no,
No.
this is learning all about engines, internal combustion engines,
Oh,
magnetism, carburation.
oh, yeah.
etc.
So you knew this anyway?
I knew it anyway, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well,
Wonderful. So you zipped through that course up.
I got good marks in that course after doing it twice.
Yes, okay. Now, you then did they post you somewhere from St. Thomas?
Oh, from St. Thomas, I went to Arnprior.
Arnprior.
And
What went on in Arnprior?
well, all it was for pilots who had already got the license, you know,
Yeah.
the
Oh, yes.
passed.
Yeah.
They just to get more hours in. And they were flying,
more flying hours.
That's
I
right.
see. Okay.
and they were flying
So it was
Cornell.
a flying field. In
Right.
other words. Okay. So now, where were you living during all this? What type
All,
of?
always in barracks.
Always in barracks.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not bad living, is it?
Oh no, I loved it.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And the food wasn't too bad.
No,
Yeah.
I never complained about food.
Oh, good. What type of aircraft were you
Well, these were
servicing?
Cornell aircraft,
Cornell.
right?
Okay.
And
One engine, two engine.
just one engine,
One engine.
inline six,
Okay.
and strictly a training ship.
Yes. Okay.
And
all right.
So it
And,
was.
so now, when you say that you serviced these engines, what exactly did you do to them?
Well,
Now, that sounds like a silly question, but
servicing is like you'd usually take the cowlings off and go over the old engine, see there's no oil leaks, no.
I see.
And if it's a liquid-cooled engine,
Yeah.
check that there's no leakage.
This is to make sure that the pilot wouldn't strike any troubles.
That's right.
Now, would you do this on a daily basis?
Oh yes, this is done on a day.
Every day you do
Every
this?
morning this was
Yeah.
done.
Uh-huh.
And then there was, when the aircraft had flown 25 hours, you did a major check.
Yeah.
And then 50 hours, a major check,
Oh, boy.
and so forth.
So really, the life of a lot of this air crew that did all the flying and took all the chances was in a funny way in your hands, because if you made boo-boos on that engine or made a mistake in any way, then they would suffer for it
They
in
would
the air,
suffer,
wouldn't they?
but
Yeah.
I never heard of it.
I know,
Very,
yeah, I know.
very seldom.
I know. Well, you fellows that work ground crew had the most tremendous reputation for doing a wonderful job for the guys.
Thank you.
All of you did, yes. Okay. Now, from Iron Prior, where did we sail off to then?
I was sent to Trenton, Ontario.
Trenton.
Trenton.
Oh, that's a big
that
base.
was a big base, yes. John Silver was the warrant officer, the chief warrant officer on the base.
Yes.
And Big John Silver.
Yeah.
And
Did he have a wooden leg?
no, oh no.
The original Long
True
John
said,
did.
yeah,
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so were you there long in Trenton?
Trenton, I was, let's see now, I was there, I'll be 40. There you go.
Couple of years, 2 or 3 years?
Couple of years.
Couple of years. Good.
And
Yeah,
while I was there,
Yeah. Now, you kept bugging them to get you overseas, didn't you?
oh yes,
I could just tell you.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll bet
no
you
matter
did.
where I went, I put in
I bet you made life terrible for the officers.
well, there was the administration section they had to go to
Oh, yeah.
and put in a
Yeah.
application to
Yeah.
take any man's posting.
Yeah. Have you heard anything, sir, I bet you'd say, about me?
Yeah, yeah.
I know. Yeah. So, did you finally get to go?
Oh yes, and-
Yeah.
but prior to that, I had gone on holiday, and while on holiday, I decided to go AWOL. I
Oh.
was a little mad at the system because I'd been in the service before the war, after
Yeah.
the war, and I was still in LAC.
Oh,
And the
so yes.
Englishmen were coming over.
And they were outranking you
They-
quickly, yes.
Right, they promoted them right away to corporal.
Yes.
So I
Oh.
stayed. I was 7 days AWOL. When I came back, I said LAC reporting.
Yeah.
They said Corporal Haig reporting.
Yes.
Reported me while I was AWOL. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
promoted
yeah.
me.
It always seemed a little unfair to us all, I think.
Yeah,
that we
at
weren't,
the time, yeah.
we weren't promoted as we should. I always wondered why I wasn't an admiral. But there you go. Anyway, so now you finally bugged them into getting you overseas.
Right.
Yeah. And where'd you go?
Went to Topcliffe.
First of all, you went on a boat, did you?
Oh yes,
That's about
we
the
went
only
by
way,
tube
yeah.
ship. Yeah.
Unless you swam, that's about the only
Yeah,
way.
that's
No,
right.
but sometimes with Air Force guys, you got flown over, didn't you, or
Yeah.
not?
Not during the war.
Not during the war, okay.
No, there's too
So
many
now-
going at one
yeah,
time.
Yeah. So you went over and you went to where?
To Topcliffe,
Topcliffe.
that's in Yorkshire.
Oh, really?
Eh,
See, usually Air Force guys I've heard of went to Bournemouth, but you went to Topcliffe.
Topcliffe, yeah.
Okay. And what happened there?
Well, I was put. We were on a conversion unit, and this was when they were flying the air crew were flying Halifaxes.
Halifax bombers, yes.
Yeah.
So now they were switching
They were switching to
into
Lanc-
Lancs, and
right.
so therefore they had to train to do
Yeah,
that.
Correct.
And you were servicing what? Which plane?
The Lancaster.
The Lancasters, yeah. Now, where'd you learn to service the Lancasters?
Well,
In Trenton before you went, or
no,
over
no.
there?
During the war, you got your basic training,
Yes.
and then from there on in, if you were put on a Cornell with Ranger engine,
Yes.
you learned it.
Yes.
Then you'll go on to, no matter what you had to learn it in the field.
New every time.
That's right.
Okay, so you had to learn Lancs when you got to
That's,
Popcliffe.
that's right.
Yes, right, okay. So that, boy, that took a lot of skill. You must have been a very skillful artisan, as we would call you, I guess.
Well,
You
I
had
like the job,
a
and-
feeling for engines.
and I had a feeling
Yeah,
for engines.
Yeah, but you did. Okay, now, during all this, I know it's a pretty safe business, being in ground crew, but sometimes there were disasters. Were there any around you?
No, I can honestly
Pretty
say
solid. and
pretty solid.
solid.
The only casualty that I remember is, and this was at when we went to Dishforth, there must have been a drunken German
Oh,
got hold of one plane and come over and shot up the field.
oh,
At that time, it was the end of the war,
Yeah. Oh.
and the lights were on the base,
Base. Oh my God.
and there was a WD killed.
Oh my God. He thought the war. He got so drunk he thought the war was
He
still
thought
on.
he'd finish it off.
Oh boy. So now you lived in barracks there.
Oh, yes,
Yes, but now the food changed considerably, didn't it, when you went
Oh,
overseas?
I got so fed of mutton I've
Oh,
never
I bet
ate
you
it since.
did. Yes. Oh, did. All right.
Yeah.
Now, but you enjoyed it all, I'm sure.
I did, right?
Yeah.
Never got bored.
Never got bored. Now, you would get bits of leave, wouldn't you, when you,
that's
when
right,
you were
yeah.
there? And what would you do? Go on
Well, I
excursions
like
or something?
to see things. So we toured different castles,
Oh, yes.
Westminster Abbey, Tower of London,
Yes,
any
yes.
place that, and then I went to Scotland, to Edinburgh.
Did
and,
you? Yeah, yeah.
As often we had leave that I went on.
Yeah. Now,
Just
Walker, you weren't married, were
No,
you?
no.
In the war? No?
No.
No. Okay. But you got married. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, now, what about the Navy? You had a brother in the Navy,
Oh,
I
yes.
believe.
I tried to forget that episode.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
my brother contacted me, said he was being Glasgow, and said
Yeah.
would I meet him. So I went to meet him. Now my brother was a self-centered, egotistical son of a gun,
Oh.
and he was extrovert,
Was
and
he?
I was an introvert.
Oh, yes.
And-
Okay.
But anyway, we got along. I
Yeah.
loved him,
Yeah.
but
That's
Hey,
the
we
trouble
get
with
to
brothers. You do
Scotland.
love them, don't you? Yeah.
got in Scotland, he spent all his money, and then he spent all mine. They wanted me to pawn my watch, and I said, no
Oh.
way.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we had a good time together.
Yeah. Now, was he the same size as you are? I'm sorry. Just
Oh, no, he
looked
was
short,
5'10".
Was he?
Yeah.
I suppose he kidded you about that, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And my
so-
brother Bob was 5'11".
Oh, my. Oh, boy, you had
So,
to... You had to scratch to hold your own there. Okay. Now, you had this career of attending the planes in Britain until the end of the war.
until the end of the war,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, where were you when war ended?
I was at Dishford then.
You were what?
Dishford, that's,
Oh, yes.
it's
okay.
not too far from Topcliffe,
Not too far
and
from
the
Top
same
Cliff,
type of
okay.
unit,
Yes,
diversion
yeah.
unit.
And how did that affect you all? Did you party or
Oh, yes.
did you?
Yeah, we partied.
It was a big celebration,
It
wasn't
was
it?
quite a celebration.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
I think.
Yeah. You don't remember too much about that? No, okay, that's allowed. Now, so the war ended for you, and then what happened then?
Then I was posted back to Canada.
Yeah.
We came by troop ship,
Yeah.
and
Do you remember the name of the ship you came back
no,
on?
I don't.
No, okay.
No, I,
All right.
and then I was posted to Yarmouth.
Yarmouth, Nova
Because
Scotia.
the war was
Yeah.
still on with Japan, and I'd volunteered to
Oh, did
get
you?
for Japan.
Yeah.
And so that, but we're only at Yarmouth about 6 months,
Were you?
Yeah. and and then we were posted to Greenwood.
Oh,
Greenwood then had been taken over from the RAF.
from the...
Mm.
Yes, see, it was an RAF base,
That's
wasn't it? Yes,
most of the war.
that's
yes.
interesting for
Yeah.
our viewers to know. And then it closed down, did it?
Well, it closed in '46,
Yes, for a little while. And
just for a short time,
yes.
and we were all put out, supposed to go and find our own apartments.
I
In fact,
see. Yeah.
they gave us $30 a month for room and board
Oh, yeah.
to live off the base.
Yeah.
And so we were off the base until 47, June of 47,
Uh-huh.
and they reopened the base.
Now, you were on the base when it was an RAF base, were
No.
you? No?
No.
Oh, okay. You were in
After-
Yarmouth during that
That's
time.
right.
Yeah, okay, fine. So you went to Greenwood?
Greenwood, yeah.
Yes. Now, you didn't stay there
Oh,
till
I was
today.
there 4 years.
Were you?
Yes.
Oh, well,
I love the birds.
Yeah,
I love the people.
It's a great place in the world, isn't it?
Oh, I found it so, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We were working on Lancasters.
Were you then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so then you were there 4 years. Where'd you go then? Now, of course, you're still in the Air Force.
I'm still in the Air Force, and it's still.
When did you make that decision to stay in?
Oh, as soon as we were told that Japan had capitulated,
Yeah.
and so then they asked for those who wished to stay in and those who wished to get out immediately. So I stayed in.
Stayed in. Now, would your rank change or anything like that?
No.
When you stayed in?
No. For those who did have rank,
Yes.
like a flight sergeant went down to a corporal.
Corporal. Oh,
That's
yes.
right.
Yes.
And a flight lieutenant went down to a flying officer.
Yes.
They lost 2 ranks by staying in.
By staying in.
Yeah.
I see. Yes, I thought so. Okay, now, excuse me. There was more moving about for you, though, wasn't there? You left Greenwood eventually
Oh,
after
yes,
4 years
yes,
and
yes.
you were posted somewhere else.
Posted to Trenton.
Actually, here began quite a lot of postings
Right.
happened in your career, hey?
Right.
You went to Trenton
Trenton.
and stayed there a while?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I went to Gimli, Manitoba.
Manitoba, wow. Out Western Canada.
Right.
Yes,
I was at Gimli for about 6 months.
yes.
And then I was posted. I took an exchange posting. As I said, every time I went on the station, I put down, "We'll take any man's posting."
Oh, I see.
And so they said, "If a man would like to come to Winnipeg,"
Yes,
and Gimli rather.
yeah.
And so I said, "I'll take his posting." And so we exchanged, and I went to 426 Squadron. But in the meantime, I had been transferred from Gimli to Winnipeg. And it was this chap's hometown, so he let right in.
Oh, isn't that nice?
It was good.
Yeah. So now you're in Winnipeg now, at this
No,
stage of our story. No, you're in...
I didn't go to Winnipeg. He went to the Winnipeg.
You went to Winnipeg.
I went
understand
to-
now, yes, sorry.
I went to 426
yeah.
Squadron.
Yeah. Now, somewhere in here, the Korean War went on.
Well, the Korean War was on at the time.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I was there a couple of months, and I got posted to Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, did
So I was 3 months in Tacoma,
Tacoma. Oh.
right?
Why
Because
did
this
they
was
do
a
that?
step.
What did you do there?
Well, this was a stepping-off base for the Aleutians and then Japan.
Oh, I see.
And so we used to service the aircraft
Oh,
and get them ready for the trip
for the
to
trip
the
to...
Aleutians.
and then to Japan.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that interesting? So, your squadron was still the 426?
At 426, yeah.
Okay. Now, so you got posted from Washington somewhere else.
From, not Washington, Tacoma.
Tacoma,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
Washington.
yeah, well,
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, quite all right.
Right.
Tacoma, and you went to where? Quebec, was it?
Well, actually, I was up in Quebec,
Yes.
426 Squadron.
Uh,
And then from there, I went to see a posting from 426 Squadron to Tacoma.
Tacoma.
It was
oh,
just
yeah,
like
okay.
a detachment.
Yeah. Right, right.
See?
Yes. And then you got a promotion along there somewhere.
Well, I was a corporal then,
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
I've been corporal a year or so then.
Yeah.
But then,
That's a huge amount of pay difference, I believe.
well,
20 cents.
I've been in LAC so long,
Yeah.
and then you get prog pay for,
Oh, do they? Oh,
and so by the time I become a corporal, I lost money. Because I had to pay dues in the
of
corporate club.
course, yes.
I lost
yes.
all that prog
Yeah.
pay. No, I didn't make any money doing it.
Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, so now you were in early, what year are we at now?
We're
Can you
in
remember?
53 now.
53.
Yeah.
And you got posted somewhere else.
Oh, to Germany.
Back to Germany.
Back to
back
Germany,
to
yeah.
Europe, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like that?
Well, at the time, I thought that Tacoma, Washington was the finest posting it ever had because we got $5 a day extra
Did
for
you?
meals.
Oh, yes.
You could buy a bottle of whiskey for $1, and I belonged to 4 bottle clubs.
Oh, this,
And I'd go to breakfast so early that nobody ever charged me.
yeah.
I never ate dinner, supper, so I was saving money like mad.
Oh, that's great.
So then got back to 426 Squadron
Yeah.
and asked for transfer to Japan,
To Japan.
to Japan. So, fine, they said, we'll put your name down. In the meantime, I got the posting to Japan. I'm going around for my clearances.
Yeah.
I was called to CTECO's office
Yeah.
and said, Sergeant Haig, report in.
Oh.
I got a promotion at the same time.
Oh, you're a sergeant now.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
So,
Now, you also did an amazing thing around here. You switched from the turbo engine to jets.
yes, I had off and on been instructing in internal combustion engine.
Yes.
And then when this posting came along to Germany, it was after they accepted the posting, they
Yeah.
told me I was a jet instructor. I was going to be a jet instructor.
Good. Yeah.
And
Which
I'd
wasn't
never
that a
seen a jet.
terrible switch to make?
Oh, yes. I'd never seen a jet engine.
Jet, I'm sure you didn't. Yeah.
So anyway, they sent me on course
Yeah.
and sent a bunch of us on course.
Yeah.
And finished the course,
Yeah.
came back, and they decided they weren't going to use that engine. So we had to go on another course
Oh.
on the Arenda 10 engine.
Oh my God.
And after that,
Yeah.
we went overseas.
You went to Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. And from Germany, you were there a long while, were you? Or
4 years in Germany.
4 years? That's huge.
Well, I learned to speak the language.
I was going to say, you must have learned to
I
speak
did,
German.
yeah.
And what planes were they flying in Germany?
The Sabre 2
Sabre 2. Oh, okay, yeah.
with the
Very
Arenda
good,
10
good
engine.
plane, good plane. Now, when did you, surely you must have been thinking of getting married somewhere along here.
I was thinking of getting married when I was in my 20s. My 2 brothers said they'd never get married.
Oh, yeah.
They got married, and I never met the right woman.
Right woman. Aha. So now when did that happen to you?
Well, that happened in Germany
In Germany.
in 1955. I met my wife at a fashion.
At a fashion show.
This is you know what do they call it in New Orleans?
Yes, oh yes.
The Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
yes.
In Germany they call it fashion,
Fashion, oh
Yeah.
yes, okay.
and it's just a big drunk. But
Yeah. So you met her there.
I met her
Yeah.
in a Cafe Ruka.
Aha. And you said you've been chasing her around ever since.
And
Right?
I never get catch up. She's too fast for me.
Yes, dear. Well, how many children have you got?
2 children.
You
four.
must have caught her at some time or
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have two kids. How old are they?
My daughter will be 40 and my son will be 36.
Oh my, that's a nice.
Our daughter, I should say.
Yes, it's a millionaire's family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Now, what else do I want to ask you? Had a wonderful career, really. Now you during all this, you joined the Legion somewhere, didn't
I
you?
joined the Legion a year after I had got out of the service.
Yes.
I joined with Cliff Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, a branch in Middleton,
Yeah.
and then I transferred from the Middleton branch to the Kingston branch.
Kingston branch. Okay. So now, when did you retire from? Well, first of all, you had more postings, didn't you, from Germany? You got sent where from Germany? We've got to get you home from Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Germany, we went to Bagotville,
Where was that?
in northern Quebec.
Northern Quebec. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And in one way, it was a good posting because it was more European, and it didn't upset my wife.
Oh.
In fact, if
Yeah.
we'd have been speaking French, I imagine we'd still be there.
Re-
She liked it that much.
Did she? Now,
And,
could she speak English?
when I first met the wife,
Yeah.
I spoke better German than she spoke English.
Isn't
And
that amazing?
but she refused to speak German to me.
Did she? Did
And so
she? So she wanted to learn the English.
she wanted to learn English.
English,
I didn't know she'd nail me then. When I came through that door in Cafe Rocket,
Yeah.
I was a dead duck and didn't know
Oh,
it.
didn't know it.
No,
No,
didn't know.
sir. Yes, well, see, they make up their minds
Yeah.
and then they pounce.
Right.
We're all helpless.
Oh, I never
Okay.
regret it.
Yes, all right. Now, you then came back to Canada, went to Baggettsville, and what were you doing there?
Well, I was in charge of maintenance.
Yes,
And,
you were a sergeant, of course.
I was,
Yeah.
yes, I got my flight sergeant 6
Yeah.
months later.
So now, how old were you now?
I was around 48.
So you're getting near when you have to
I was
retire.
getting near to retirement.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you did eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Yes. And where were you when you retired? In Baggettsville?
Still in Bakerville, yes.
And you, what year, do you remember the year? It must have been 60 something?
When I retired?
Yeah.
Oh, 1963.
63. Boy, you have a good memory.
Yeah.
Very
It's
good.
50.
Now, you were 50 then, of course.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Now, so now you're hurled out in the alien world that you really haven't seen since you were a young fella,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you've been in the service for all those years. So now, what happened to you? What did you decide to do with your life?
Well, first
You have a
thing,
wife, you have children, you've got a pension, and what did you decide to do?
first thing I said to the wife is, where do you want to live?
Oh,
And she says, why? I says, I want you to make up your mind where you want to live, because I'll make a buck anywhere.
good for you. Yeah.
And she says, how about BC? I says, well, British Columbia's nice, but it's the same climate as Zweibrücken, mostly rain. I don't want to go there.
That's what-
So I brought her to Nova Scotia
Yeah,
for a holiday. I had friends here,
yes.
and we had 2 weeks of beautiful sunny weather
Whether,
in August.
yes.
She says, I like this place.
Ah,
I says, good, remember, you choose.
chose it. And when the rain came, she couldn't blame you.
No.
Okay.
So we, no regrets. We
Yeah.
never regret.
No, I'm sure you did. All of us Nova
Yeah.
Scotians never regret coming back.
No.
So now, you did, what did you work as?
After, well, I was with a friend and we did general maintenance work. In other words, we fix anything.
Oh, yes, okay.
And we tied that out.
yeah,
And then I was offered a job on the base,
yeah.
off the base, in the service station
That was here in
in Greenwood.
Yeah.
And then they came along, they just opened up the community center with a new bowling alley in.
Oh,
And because my mechanical experience, yes,
yeah.
I tried for the job and got it.
Managing the
Managing the bowling
Oh,
alley
that's great.
as a manager, cleaner, and
Yes, yeah,
mechanic.
yeah.
And I was there for 16 years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I
Boy.
retired. They asked me to stay on after 65, and
Yeah.
every year they kept asking me. But at 70, I quit,
You quit at 70.
Yeah.
And then you really retired.
and then I really retired.
And that was a
Right.
while ago.
Yes,
Yeah, so
That's
you're
right.
having a happy life now. I understand you're not very leisure-like, that you fix everything that anyone
well,
brings along. And now you're a brewmaster.
well, I've been making beer since 1958, I think.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh,
And you very kindly brought a big noggin for me today. Yeah. Okay, so now do you have hobbies and things, or
oh yeah. Well, I love to work with wood.
do you?
And as I can, I never, the car was never in the garage. I always repaired it, or anything like that. Electrical, plumbing,
Yeah.
anything. I could use
Still
it.
chasing the wife?
And oh no, I gave that up.
You
years-
gave up chasing the
Yeah.
German girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yes, you never catch her. Anymore.
No,
Yeah. All
she-
right. So now you've been a member of the Legion, and what else do you belong to?
that's the only.
That's the only thing.
They wanted me to join
Yeah.
the Royal Canadian Air Force Auxiliary,
Yeah.
and I
okay.
told them that I could only help one
Yeah.
race and do a good job.
All right. Now, what's MSM?
Oh, that's the Legion Meritorious
Service Medal.
Service Medal.
Good for you, because you've done wonderfully well in the Legion.
Well, I've always tried to help. I've only been on a couple of the executive committees,
Yeah.
but I've always helped, volunteered to do anything. And then with working with the veterans for 13 years,
Yeah.
I on the exercise program, that was working with Tom Ross, who is the physiotherapist.
Yeah.
And I did it because I like doing it. I just like being with the veterans. And
Well, that's about the highest
Yeah.
award they give, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes,
it
well,
is.
then they
That's
give me the palm leaf to it.
Did they?
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your long and very illustrious life.
Thank you very
Walker.
much.
You had a good time, and
I
you
have no
contributed
regrets.
greatly, not only to Canada's war effort, but to Canada itself, and to wherever you lived. And it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll enjoy the tape when you get to
Yeah,
see it.
I do
And
too.
your
Oh,
family
I know I will.
Your family will too, I
Yeah.
hope.
Good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to Walker Haig for the last little while, and we've interviewed him today about his war service in the Royal Canadian Air Force. And you know, just before we leave today, I'd like to say he did so terribly well with the Legion as well. And you know what the Legion means to men that have served in the forces. That it's like a home away from home. It is. It picks up where their service left off, the memories of their service, and it's altogether a marvelous institution, which I don't think Canadians realize as well as they should. But anyway, thank you for watching today. And just before I go, I'd also like to thank Eastlink Community Television. That's our cable company here, and they are so helpful to us in our endeavors to get these programs taped for you. We use their studios and their wonderful staff. And I want to thank you for watching me. Goodbye.